to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. As always, I'm honored that you're joining us this week. So every week as you listen to the show, I hope you feel a couple of things. Number one, my passion that what we're doing out in the world, it matters and we need to show up. And with that said, change comes with that. Yikes, when we hear that word change. So I really hope that you feel my passion and my guest passion on the show, that no matter what change you're going through, we've got you. And hopefully that our tips and strategies that we share during the shows help you move the needle. Information's great. Take that information, put it into action. I promise you, magic starts to happen. Now, to help you on your sales, business journey, career journey, whatever it is that you're living through, and there's change involved, I'd love for you to join my community. It's called the All-Star Community. And we are truly a community that is compassionate, passionate, and all about support. So as the tides rise, our ships rise together. We believe it, we breathe it, we live it. And I would love for you to join. If you're interested in more information, the link is in the show notes. I'd love to see you there. Come and play. We meet twice a month. Now, my motivational quote for today is by Covey. And Sean says, depending on what they are, our habits will either make us or break us. We become what we repeatedly do. And as I was searching for the quote, this one really hit me. And I think most of us are what I would call routine people, whether we realize those habits and routines or not. Now, I love habits. And I just said to my guest before we started recording, I am organized. I love to take habits and systematize them, rinse and repeat, if you will, so that I don't have to think about it, but I show up every day just that little bit easier than maybe I did the day before. I believe that those habits, those systems, whatever you want to call it, allows us to stop thinking about what do I do next, and we just kind of go with it and get things done. I'm always excited when I get to share a guest who helps us bring my quotes to life, and the meaning. We can be thoughtful with our habits that can create a life of joy and happiness. And that's really our conversation for today. So back for the third time, my amazing friend and guest is Melanie Salvatore-August. And Melanie is a mother of three, yoga teacher, trainer, Reiki Master, and author, and she gives in-depth instructions for specific yoga poses and teaches you how they can assist in immune system boosters. Her motivational book, Yoga to Support Immunity, offers holistic, self-care driven support for optimal health, a practical guide that easily can be integrated into everyday life. Her book outlines the ins and outs of why yoga promotes optimal health. So please help me welcome Melanie back to the show for the third time.
Hi, Connie.
Hi, I know, I'm so excited. And it's so funny. Our conversations, like people, that quote was so spot on for our topic today, Mel, right? But yoga and that kind of quieting the mind and mindfulness and stretching and moving our bodies and all of those things really do help with our immune and I think how we show up in life, right?
100%. It's the intentionality of it. And what I really love what you were just sharing is that, like, automating certain things. There's certain things that so intentionally it's like, I'm not going to spend my precious fresh mind energy on what I'm going to wear or setting up for my podcast or whatever it is, right? I'm going to get that automated. I'm going to get really good habits in place. So then that magical genius part of my mind and my energy, which is finite. It's like we all have a certain, everyone different, but like there's only so many pieces of the pie. So I'm going to use, and save that pie for like the stuff that really matters, right? Connecting with my kids, connecting with my loved ones, writing or whatever art form you're delighted in. And I find everything can be an art form, right? Yeah. So whatever it is that really turns you on, that's what we want our energy to go to. So we thrive and we really are alive. We're not just, same day or, different day, same thing, whatever you want to call it.
What is it? The Gopher, what's the stupid movie with You know what I'm talking about? Groundhog Day, right? With the same, everybody's like, Connie,
Yeah.
it's Groundhog Day, you
Yeah.
moron. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
that same thing. It's funny. I
Mhm.
remember, being a working mom my whole career.
Mhm.
My kids, they still have the habit. It cracks me up because now they're men, right? We would get our clothes out the night before. Their backpacks would be the back door packed with everything. All they had to do was take their lunch out of the fridge, right? The lunches were
Smart.
made the night before. All of those signs, anything that was signed, they had folders. If I had a sign, they knew to put it in that folder. So I helped them. You don't even realize this. I think it was survival because
Yes.
you have three kids and I only had two. But life is busy. So I thought
Yeah.
if I can help them systematize so they know what to do every day without thought, but they won't forget papers at home. They know the lunch is made the night before. They have their clothes out that they don't have to say, oh my God, it's in the laundry or whatever.
Yeah.
They're using those skills today. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today, because when we talk about making changes, right? Change is a scary thing.
Mhm.
But if we can make little micro changes, magic
Mhm.
starts to happen with little effort. And I think that's what people are looking for now because we're so busy. So I know you talk about feeling better with everyday little micro habits. I love that, micro habits.
Mhm.
Tell us what you mean by that, and like, how can we use that to just help us live a little bit less stressful, maybe?
Yes, yes. Well, and again, I have to say, like, you're so on the pulse, Connie, because what I'm hearing you saying, also what you did with your kids, is your habit stacking. So you're building these habits one on top of the other.
Yes.
So you get one going, it becomes easy and automated, and then you slide another one inside. So, if I back up and say, what are micro habits? They're like tiny things we do during the day, right? Ideally, we build them automated, and we're always doing something. Always. And people say, oh, like, just don't do anything, just be. Well, my heart's beating, my lungs are going. Like, we are doers, right? So let's do it intentionally. So that's where it takes a little bit of time to actually stop and go, okay, what's important to me? And how can I design my regular mundane habits? Um, and so the first place, I would look is be like, what's already working for you? No, I don't know. You might be like, I don't know if that's working, but like, I get up out of bed and I immediately go to the restroom. I go to the bathroom, right? And I eliminate. And Ayurvedic and yoga, like, that's how we should start our day. We
Absolutely.
clean out. Well, I do that without thinking, right? And maybe many of our friends here are like, yeah, I do that too. Well, actually, that's a great habit. And then it's like, well, while I'm in there, I'm also going to scrape my tongue and drink 16 ounces of water because I just put it out the night before. It's just right there.
Yep.
And that water helps detox, because we had all that processing during the night. It helps my liver, right? We scrape our tongue, all the stuff that kind of came off the liver, like, it all forms on the tongue. It's yucky. I won't give you any more detail, I'll let you figure it out yourself. But you just take a spoon, you scrape that crap off so you don't drink it back in. Okay, so there are three major immune system boosters right
Yeah.
there before we even go to the kitchen. And that's where I go next automatically. So those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. That
It's funny because what you're describing is wonderful for us, right? Our biological, our mental, all of those things that keep us healthy and the immune up and all of that, with COVID still going around, right? We
right.
don't want to get sick because we do want to show up and be productive every day, take care of our kids, our business, whatever it is. I do that, what you just described, I do that in my business for sure, but I teach my clients how to do that. So I'll give you just a quick example. When I first started my podcast, right, I would reach out, we would meet, networking, whatever. And I go, oh, Mel, I'd love to have you on my show. Yeah, sure. So I'll send you an email and we'll get you scheduled. This is way back when I would manually go through the calendar with the person and schedule it. Takes time. Then I would send an email with all the things that I needed. Well, finally, it was like I had the aha moment. You Dumbo over here, create an email that you can use over and over and over again. Create a calendar link that they could go on and get scheduled on a calendar, on my calendar that works for them. everything is automated. So now I do that with every aspect of my business that we do more than once, because you have these one-off things, right? But if there's something that is a habitual thing I need to do or thing I send out, whatever, it's all automated. And I have super toolkits created so that it's a rinse and repeat. My VA could do it. Zero thought, copy and paste, send it to the email within 30 seconds. You have all the info you need. That's what we're talking about for ourselves, for our bodies,
100%.
Right? That's
100%.
the same career at work. Hopefully you have these good habits at work. So what we're talking about, please do the ripple effect, right? Use it in all aspects of your life. This isn't just about our health, although that's, I think, the most important topic here, right?
Well, you don't have your health,
you're screwed. Yeah.
Right.
You're up a creek without a paddle. No joke.
Right. What I hear you also saying is that you make it easy. And that is the key to these micro habits. You make them easy. So I fill up my water at night. I'm more motivated at night. I'm kind of getting things together. I've been up all day, I just am clearer. And I actually set it up when I'm finishing dinner and cleaning up the dishes, because that's where I'm like kind of buzzing around, right? I haven't slowed down for the night yet.
That's right.
And I put it at eye level. So it's like I have to actually try to miss it. There's my water. There's my scraper, right? So, and then it's like I wash my scraper, whatever you use, but the soap is right there. It's all right there. It's easy. I would actually have to make effort not to do the good habit. And
question. So you're a mom of 3, right? And I have a Vitamixer, right? So when I know I'm going to do my smoothie every morning, I keep my Vitamixer out. If company comes over, obviously you put it away. Do you have things like that to help support for you and your family, where it might be not the prettiest on the counter or in the kids' bedrooms or whatever, but it creates that efficiency and that a habit that we don't even have to think about anymore? Do you do things like that as well?
100%. 100%. And, I don't know, maybe it's good for my family because it's good for me, but like I realized I had a junk drawer in my kitchen. Maybe like you, I spent a lot of time in my kitchen, and I was like, wait a second, this is all like it's in a prime spot in my kitchen, but it's all not frequently used crap.
Yeah.
So I emptied it out and I put all my self-care stuff in there. So I walk into my kitchen and, my cleanser, my cream, my supplements, anything that I'm going to use that's going to help me is in my now care drawer.
I love it.
And as I'm warming up the hot water, I'm stretching my spine. I dry brush my skin, to I'm doing it all at 6 a.m., not waking up anybody. Everybody's asleep. And I'm doing my thing because I could stack it, because it's easy, because I'm already there. So where are you already? Is it your car? Right? I figure you use the bathroom. I mean, that's kind of like a given, right? So like set yourself up in those frequently used spots and put the important stuff.
And you just said something interesting, being in sales, my whole career, the first 20 years, I was in my car. I lived in my car. I had, things organized, literally like folder, like filing cabinets. They were portable, like in a plastic tote, but I had everything I need, paperwork I might, because we didn't have computers, back in the day. I would have all the forms I might need, and I had them organized in alphabetical. And so no matter what the client needed, I could easily run out to my car if I didn't anticipate something, because you never know when you're in front of the client what the real outcome is going to be. You can think, but I'm all about I customize when I'm with my client. So I had all of that already organized in the car. They make it, and now fast forward, I mean, I had to make mine, right, with like a box from like the banker's box or whatever they call. Now they have ones with handles and they're plastic and they lock, and you have these beautiful colored Pendaflexes. I had the green, and so there's so many resources, I think, and tools out there for the health as well as for those efficiencies. Can you give some things that, and you keep using the word stack. So I want you to dig in a little bit for everybody. What do you mean? And you gave some good examples. Maybe talk from your client's perspective. How many of your clients were maybe in a bad place or in a semi-bad place, and they came to you, right, for help? And how did you get them from like this chaos of, I don't know what to do, or these are the things I'm doing, but it's not working, and then help them with those little stacks? I think those success stories are useful. Do you have something you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. And it also calls for me to add joy and feel good,
Yes.
because there's certain things that you could add on that don't feel good, and you're not, so I would start with, and when I work with someone, that's what we start with what's easy. We start with what feels good. So like, you might think that scraping your tongue is gross, I'm going to get off that habit, but it actually feels great. You're like, oh, I feel better, right? So what is it that you want to help yourself with, and it's going to feel good, right? And when we're stacking, again, we're going on what is absolutely still working or absolutely working for you and you're not thinking about, and you add on. You're going to go walk your dog. You walk your dog every day. Fantastic. I'm glad you're walking your dog. And where you have the dog stuff, maybe you also have, I don't know, a stretchy, what do they call, band?
Yeah.
Right. And so before the dog's waiting, and the dog will continue to wait, and you're going to do your stretches for your shoulders because your neck's been hurting and you've been hunched over at your desk. You're going to do that before you pick up the leash. So, and then you might think, okay, when I go to walk the dog, I will pick up my band and I will do 10 of my reps of my stretch exercise. And then I'll go walk the dog. So, and you might even make it more specific. At 7 a.m. when I go to walk the dog, right? And so you have it all set up. So, it's this aspect, one of, putting on top of something else that's working, planning it beforehand. It feels good, but also to actually write it down and say it specifically, right? So when this happens, I do this. We call that a trigger. So the trigger, dog needs to be walked, and that your sweet dog is not going to let you not walk them. They have to go potty, right? Yes. So it's like, unless it's dire, then the dog's waiting. Now I'm seeing that could be the, yeah. You're following me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right? So you have that very specific trigger, and then you have it set up for success, and it feels good, and you'll start to see immediate results as your neck and shoulders feel better, what have you. So we start with those little things.
Yeah. And you could do the same thing with eating, right? Instead of coming home and being starving, make sure you have fruit on the counter. So when you come in, you grab an apple, or you take the watermelon out of the refrigerator or whatever. And as you're going up after work to change, have a couple of bites of the fruit, let it get into your system, change, come down. Now you're not ravish, right? You're not starving that you're going to ravish the first thing you see of chips or cookies. So all of these things that we're talking about, whatever habit you're trying to form, you can use the stacking process, these micro habits.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And writing them down and knowing what the trigger is super important. Yes. So when I walk in from work, I walk right into the kitchen and I put my keys down. I see piece of fruit and I eat it and walk to go change my clothes. That you would build it specifically like that.
I love it.
Like you give yourself marching orders.
It's so easy. We're rule followers. We like rules. So this is like spot on, right? We don't even have to think about it. It's just, I got to go and get my apple, or, there's the leash. Let me do my stretches. So these are how, and here you're right, because they're so simple and easy, like 10 stretches before you take the dog out. It's not like, okay, so do an hour of exercise before you take that dog out. Nobody's going to do it. But if you 10 seconds, right, or 20 seconds, I can do that. And now that's the trigger, walking the dog. I have a new habit. I love that. Now I know you're a yoga instructor, and I know yoga is it's really important in my life. And I know it's really important in your life. So you talk about yoga being something that we do off the mat. I love this framework. Can you share everybody what you mean and how we can take that yoga off the mat?
Absolutely. Well, we start with an idea, many of us, of, yoga is exercise, physical exercise, like stretching, right? Or even like building strength. You can do that too.
Yes.
And yes, that's a part of it. It's like one of the tools. But yoga itself is really so much of what you share, Connie, so much of this kind of alignment and intentionality.
Yes.
So aligning, your heart, you're called, our friends are called to make a difference in the world. They're called to grow abundance for their family, all these things.
Yes.
So that connection of the heart and the calling, then organizing so your mind is in alignment with that and your actions too. So, there's a beautiful seminal text. Maybe you read it, the Bhagavad Gita. And in the Gita, they define yoga as skill in action,
Mm.
skill in action. And I feel like that's so much of what we're talking about, because it's how do I become very intentional? And when I choose to do something, my heart's behind it, my head agrees, and my actions are aligned. Both my hands, right? My right and my left are working in harmony. Sometimes clean with the right, mess up with the left. Like we have a lot of many of us, right? We're like, I'm just not that harmonious, right? So this yoga, taking yoga off the mat, is really, really about that. It's like, okay, get clear on what you want. And when you're clear on what you want, start to listen to the mind. And so this is where we start to organize. You're not your mind. You use your mind, but you can change your mind, right? It's very changeable. So it's something you can listen to. And when the mind is being pulled by fear or pulled by regret from the past, or anxiety about the future, right? What's going to happen to me? And it starts to distort whatever the heart is calling for, then we have this power to go, okay, I hear you, and I'm going to redirect you, because it's not helpful. You're not being helpful. Like, so what's possible? What can move us forward? And that's where the micro habits are really off the mat habits. It's like, okay, yes, I get it. Everything could go wrong. Everybody's out to get me. My mind could tell me all these different not helpful things. And my skill in action is being aware of that and then saying, and I'm going to step forward in possibility, and I'm going to listen to my heart, and I'm going to align my actions. So I don't know if that answered it really, what is yoga and off the mat, but you can take that anywhere in your life.
It's a skill, just like anything else. The whole yoga practice, right? And I like the premise of the yoga practice and what that means, because some of us are spazzes, right? I am not the most flexible with certain positions, but certain positions I can really, really do well. So it's honoring where you are, not beating yourself up because the person next to you is doing a better pose than you or whatever. The other thing I love about yoga is that today I might not be able to do it, and then tomorrow I can. So that, and the last piece of yoga that I love is that end of practice where you sit and you just kind of meditate, that they put the music on quietly, and you cover yourself with a blanket or whatever, and you just kind of sit there quietly to reflect on how good your body feels, right? In those last moments of quiet before you hit the pavement running again with going to work or going to do something with your kids or whatever it might be. So yoga, I think, is an amazing practice, and I think it's important. And because you're in this world, that more and more athletes are doing yoga, because it helps them with flexibility. It reduces injury. It helps clear their mind so they can visualize success. All these things that we talk about, even athletes are doing now. So it's just such a fascinating, it's so simple, and yet it's so complex in what it does for us. And I mean that complexity in a good way, right?
Absolutely. And what you're sharing, Connie, is why the exercises. Okay, you're talking about the mind, but why the exercises? Because you're focused when you do the exercises.
Yes,
They're done mindfully. That
that's right.
means your mind can't get lost in the past. And it has a very hard time projecting in the future because you really need to pay attention to your balance right now.
Yeah.
So that is why one of the reasons it's so effective. You're concentrating in the moment. Do whatever you do with your body, does it need to be these poses that have been done over the last couple hundred years or whatever? No. Anything could be our yoga, Connie. Really, your knitting can be our yoga. It's something that brings us into focus and quiet, right? A runner, spinning, and any physical repetitious activity that is mindful, right, can bring us into this very skilled state where we can observe the mind and then direct ourselves.
Gosh, this is so fascinating. I didn't even think of that until just now. So yesterday, a friend came from the Pacific Northwest and she visited. She was on the East Coast. And of course, we spent the afternoon together. And there's a twin lighthouse. I live near the shore, right? So there's a twin lighthouse. And I was trying to do something fun that she loves the beach and she doesn't have access to the beach like she used to on the Pacific Northwest. So we went up. And it was funny because I swear to God, these people must have been micro size who worked in because I'm giant. I'm 5'11". I don't know if you knew that, but I'm 5'11".
No.
Yeah. So I'm really tall, right? I'm big bones and all of that. But anyway, we're going up and the stairs are thick on one side and then it goes into that little point on the inside. So I said, and it was like, I'm telling you, for a child, it wasn't a very big space. And she's a little person. She's maybe 5 feet, 5'2", something like that. So as we're going up, she was laughing because I'm like, I don't want to make a misstep, but I'll tell you, this is what's fascinating but why I wanted to give you that piece of the story. As we were going up, they did have handles and I could visualize right here, right now with you, the exact color and shape and feel of the metal on my hands as I held the railings, because I was so focused on obviously not falling, but also very careful. Like I didn't bang my head as you went from layer to layer. You kind of had to creep under it. I was so focused on every movement of my body, not to hurt myself, but also because I wanted to get to the top. And I did it very, very precisely. And I'm usually a fast mover. It's so funny that you're saying this, Mel, because I could still feel the metal on my hands, the smell that was in that room, the look and the sound of my feet hitting the metal of it. I didn't even realize how focused I was in that moment, but that's what we're talking about, that ability to be laser focused in the moment and do what we need to do. I didn't think about the past. I didn't think about the future. I just thought about that moment and not misstepping because of the size of the steps. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what you're sharing?
100%. And you're so alive in that moment and you remember it, right? It's not just like my life is going by and I don't even know what's happened.
Because I was focused.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was focused. It's the same
and there's
thing.
a repetition to it. So there's this really wonderful kind of process that you're talking about, that we're repeating something with mindfulness. And maybe it sounds like, maybe it's because you're with your friend or whatever, but there was a certain also relaxation with it. So, if we're freaking out while we do whatever we're doing in repetition, freaking out while we're doing our stretches in yoga, we are not going to get the benefits. But when we, I'm going to consistently try my best. I'm going to consistently try to focus, do my habits, but I'm also going to be detached in a way. I like the use of the phrase passive disregard, right? I'm going to disregard and passively. I'm not going to be like, hey, hate this, I disregard you. It's really just like, oh, well, I'm going to keep going. Oh, well.
Life is a practice, isn't it?
100%.
Like yoga. That's really at the core. I think what we're talking about, we have like 2 minutes left, but I'm curious. You have 3 kids, God bless you. And you live on a homestead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what does yoga, I love tangible examples for people because you have a busy life, right? You have a business, you have a husband, you have 3 kids. They had COVID last week. You were a crazy person. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to you to take that behavior of the mat, right, off the mat? And what does that look like for you? And what challenges do you find it helps you with in the chaos of just being a mom, right? Mom and business owner.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I do things in small, tiny increments, as you're probably like, yes, that makes sense, micro habits. So I do exactly what we've been sharing. And I pause, stabilize my body. Now, this might seem like, okay, what? So you stood on both your feet evenly and you balanced out right and left sides of your body? Yes. So if I'm going to wash my dishes, I pause, I anchor my feet, I align my spine, and I breathe through my nose. Then once it kind of clicks in, I get clear on what's important. I remember. I usually go to gratitude. I'm thankful for these dishes. I'm thankful for the food I'm about to serve my kids, right? Because I have my mind can go negative, and I know a lot of friends. It's easy for us to go negative. So I add those moments of anchoring my body, creating symmetry in my skeletal system, breathing through my nose, and remembering what's important. And I do it all day long. I can do it when I approach my sink. I do it when I sit down before I eat. I do it before I walk through doorways. Do I do it every single time, Connie? No, I'm not that good. But if I get 3 or 4 in within a day, it makes a huge difference in how I interact with every being and with everything that I do.
What I love that. Here's the thing that was really profound, Mel, because even if it's 3 or 4 times a day, it's 3 or 4 times a day that you're allowing yourself to be present and in the moment and just ground everybody. It's not even like you need skill for what you just described, right? I'm going to do the dishes, ground your feet, really feel your feet, right? Straighten your spine so that you can feel that like lengthening, right? Like somebody's pulling a string on your head, right? The back of your head. And then being grateful for the food. Well, as little, you do that 3 or 4 times a day, your whole energy changes. It's remarkable. Yeah. The other thing too, I go to a chiropractor, but that centering and you're strengthening, believe it or not, when you do something like that, your core engages because you're trying to stand up straight, your shoulders back, your spine is in alignment, you're grounding your feet, and then breathing. We need oxygen in our bodies. Like this is such a simple task that every one of us could do at least 3 or 4 times a day. When you go to the bathroom, get up, go to the bathroom. When you're washing your hands, ground your feet, straighten your back, take a breath. It could be as simple as that. You pee how many times a day? So you can, you're washing your hands, do that 4 or 5 times, 6 times a day or whatever. It's those little moments. And I think that's also what helps us create the good immunity that your book speaks of as well, right?
100%. There's a chemical reaction every time we have that moment, right? Where we tap into positivity. Our body releases dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, depending on the gratitude, oxytocin, right? The bonding hormone. And that floods the body with like a boost. It's like the happy cocktail. Great. So it has the science, backup as well.
Yeah. Everybody, you got to look, we're on the beach, right? It's the summer. Buy the book. Yoga to Support Immunity offers holistic self-care driven support for optimal health. And it's a practical guide that easily can be integrated into your everyday life, like we talked about today, and so many great examples that Melanie shared with us. Thanks for being on again and for sharing the book and writing the book and just sharing what's the right way? You're so calm, but you're so clear, and your examples, you're going to laugh. Since our last time we did a show, you shared about scraping, because I said, I drink a lot of water. I have my water next to my nightstand, the whole thing. You said, scrape your tongue. I started doing that now. So again, it was like a little, don't even think about it, right? I just do it. So it's these little things. And now every time I stand up, I'm going to straighten my spine and breathe through my nose and ground my feet. It's a little simple thing, and it quickly becomes a habit. So I love how you share. And it doesn't have to be hard. It's not about beating ourselves up. Like you said, I'm not that good that every time I'm near the sink or I walk through a doorway that I do it. If I get 3 or 4 in, that was a good day. that's real, Mel. And that's maybe the other thing I love about you is it's like real stuff you're giving us, not, and make sure you spend 20 minutes meditating and 30 minutes lifting weights. And it's like, okay, when do I live? Right. I'm doing all this other stuff.
Thank
So I
you.
love the micro habits. I love the stacking premise. I love yoga off the mat. I love everything you talk about because I think it's useful, easy to implement, and oh man, healthy for us. And so that we could show up and do what we want to do, family, friends, career, whatever it might be. So thank you so much. I love having you on.
Connie, thank you so much. And right back at you. You're doing such a beautiful service to the world, and you're so real and so smart, and just right on.
Oh,
Right on, sister.
Thank you.
I love you
Mutual
too.
Admiration Society. It's cool, right? We go there. You guys, if you need more Mel in your life, please go to her website, MelanieSalvatore-August.com. You can email her through there and contact her if you have questions specifically. The book is there, and make sure you go to the show notes. Melanie is sharing a complimentary tutorial gift. I'll put the link in the show notes. Just can you tell people briefly what that is so they click on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a breathing exercise, super quick, easy, but it'll reset your nervous system so you feel calm. So it's great if you're having any stress, any anxiety. It's also great for the lungs in the time of COVID. So you'll love it. It's easy. You'll want to teach all your people. You'll be like, I have a breathing exercise for you. So teach it, share it.
Don't laugh. When I train live, at some point, you see people fading in the afternoon, and I talk about power poses and just how do you have that presence and how do you build that rapport with the client that you're an authority. And so I make them stand up and we do power poses. I tell them, all right, let's get in the Wonder Woman position. And you're giggling, it's self-conscious. I go, we're all doing it. Let's go. And I tell them, I take them through, ground your feet, straighten your hips, hands on the hips, look straight ahead. Don't look at anybody, look straight ahead and really get in the zone and feel the power. And we do it for maybe like a minute. And then we sit down and I go, and then you see everybody's all alive again. I go, how does that make you feel? They go, powerful. I'm like, exactly. Right. You can harness that. We did it in 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever it was. So I love these simple tools that we can utilize during the day to re-energize us, ground us, clear our head, breathe, right? Get our lungs filled, make us feel alive again, whatever it might be. So thank you for that free gift. I love free gifts.
Me too. Just thanks for everything, Connie.
I love you, my friend. And thank you again
love
for
you too.
being on. Everybody, check out Mel's website again, MelanieSalvatore-August.com. And I hope you join me weekly as we question, build, and discover that no matter where you are in the element of change, whatever that means for you, my guests and I really do have your back. We really do try to show up for you to share some tips, strategies, and ideas that you can use after listening to the show. Please download the free gift. Please follow Melanie. Use some of her strategies and ideas every day. I'm telling you, I know I've used some of her strategies in my life. It works. It makes you feel more joy, peace, and health. And that's, I think, the important thing because COVID's still out there and we want to remain healthy. So again, please take the free gift, implement, use it. And I am honored that you're on this journey with me and that you tune in every week. You've been listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. I wish you all an inspired week with good health. Create those micro habits, start stacking and create those habits that can create magic in your life. Thanks again, Mel. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great one, everybody.